Some people just need to step into your home and all peace vanishes. They don't break anything. They just talk, just look, just exist. And that's enough to leave you drained, tense, even exhausted. And the worst part is, you invited them in. We blame stress, society, our circumstances, but here's a truth you need to face. Sometimes you're the one opening the door for the toxin to walk right in. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy. It's the art of keeping your mind and your space clean. In this video, you'll uncover 4 types of people who seem normal, but are quietly tearing you apart from the inside. If you've ever felt exhausted after being around someone, you need to watch this video until the end. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and like if you're new here. It helps me keep bringing you more valuable content. If you let someone trample your boundaries, don't be surprised when they start using you as a doormat. There's a type of person who doesn't belong in your home, not because they're dangerous, but because they see your kindness as an open invitation to invade. They don't knock. They barge in, literally and metaphorically, staking a claim in your life like it's their birthright. They show up unannounced, acting like you don't have a life, a schedule, or the right to silence. They help themselves to your things, open your fridge, rummage through your bookshelves, touch your phone, and act like everything belongs to them. Worse, it doesn't stop at behavior. They start dictating how you should live, what you should do, what you should think. Every move they make carries a subtle message. I know your life better than you do. The more you stay silent, the more they push. The more you accommodate, the more they see it as permission. And one day, you realize you're no longer the master of your own space. You feel out of control, exhausted, and worst of all, you start doubting yourself. Is it wrong to want privacy? Is it wrong to expect respect for your personal space? No, there's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is trading your peace just to avoid disappointing someone else. What's wrong is forgetting that your home isn't a pit stop for people with no boundaries. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When someone does wrong, it's not because they intend to hurt us. They simply don't know better. But that doesn't mean we have to tolerate them." Stoicism doesn't teach you to hate people. It teaches you a simple truth. Not everyone deserves a spot in your inner circle. Not everyone has earned the right to step into your most sacred spaces, your home and your mind. The solution? Learn to say no. Firmly, clearly, without over-explaining. Set boundaries and guard them like fortresses. Stop trying to please everyone, because the more you do, the more you lose yourself. Your home isn't just a shelter, it's an extension of your soul. Let the wrong people in, and it won't be long before you lose respect for yourself too. No one else is responsible for your boundaries but you. If you don't play gatekeeper, you'll soon be exiled from your own kingdom. Don't confuse kindness with weakness. Don't let your silence be mistaken for permission. There's nothing wrong with saying no. But there's a whole lot wrong with letting people walk all over you and smiling through it. And if someone leaves because you set a boundary, let them go. Because their presence was never rooted in respect. They didn't want a relationship. They wanted a servant. And you were never born for that. Some people enter your home carrying nothing but a dark cloud. They don't throw chairs, don't break things, don't raise their voice. They just sit down and start talking, complaining, criticizing, self-pitying. And the worst part is, you let them talk. They drip poison in your space, slow, steady, disguised as venting, but in reality it's a deliberate form of mental poisoning. At first, you think you're listening to comfort them, but after a few times, you notice the story never changes. It's always the bad boss, the toxic coworker, the distant spouse, the misbehaving kids, the unfair world, the cursed fate. It's not that they're seeking solutions, it's that they're addicted to suffering. They cling to misery as a convenient excuse to do nothing. And if you're not alert, they'll slowly drag you into that pit, inch by inch. Here's the truth. Your mind is not a garbage bin. And you weren't born to be someone's emotional dumping ground, absorbing every ounce of negativity they're too afraid to confront. Negative thinking doesn't just affect the person carrying it. It spreads faster than any virus. It corrodes your positivity, kills your drive, and chokes out every flicker of hope you're trying to hold on to. You can start the day feeling energized and end it completely drained after just 30 minutes with this kind of person. Stoicism doesn't teach you to deny pain or escape reality. It teaches you, if you can't change the situation, change your perspective. But people with a negative mindset don't change a damn thing. They refuse to take ownership of their suffering. They blame, they make excuses, they blind themselves to the truth. Suffering is a choice. Epictetus once said, "It's not the events themselves that disturb us, but the way we interpret them." People who live with a negative mindset reject this lesson. They don't want the light because the darkness gives them an excuse not to act. They don't want solutions because resentment makes them feel special. And if you're not careful, they'll suck you into that game. You'll start thinking, maybe life really is unfair. Maybe I'm stuck too. That's the moment you lose. If this video made you think, hit like now. Comment below, how have you applied Stoicism in your life? Stoic success, unbreakable mindset, total control. The Stoic solution is clear. Limit your exposure. Not because you hate them, but because you love yourself enough not to let someone else's poison seep into your soul. Be selective with your time, your space, and your level of engagement. If they don't want to change, let them sink in the pit they keep digging. You're under no obligation to jump in after them. Don't forget, you control your response. You can't stop someone from complaining, but you can choose not to listen. You can't forbid negativity, but you can walk out of the room. Don't be afraid to distance yourself from those who drag you down, because if you don't, you'll become their next replica. A positive environment doesn't happen by chance. It's the result of smart, hard choices, who you let in and who you leave behind. If you value your mental health, if you truly want a life that's worth living, then remember this: your mind is sacred. Don't let it become someone else's battleground. Some people don't need to scream in your face to control you. They don't bark orders, don't slam their fists. All they do is look at you with that wounded gaze and say, "I'm only doing this because I care about you." That, right there, is the most dangerous kind of person, the emotional manipulator. They don't show up looking for support. They show up to seize control by targeting your biggest vulnerability, your compassion. You know who they are. They're always the victim in every story. No matter what happens, they're the one who got hurt, betrayed, or treated unfairly. They turn every situation into a drama with themselves as the tragic hero, and you as the one responsible for their emotional well-being. Say no, and they make you feel guilty. Disagree, and suddenly you're the heartless one. Call them out, and they flip the script. "I didn't know you were capable of being this cruel." Manipulation doesn't always wear a mask of aggression. Sometimes it looks like overbearing concern, fake advice, or help that comes with invisible strings. A manipulator will make you feel like you owe them, emotionally, with your time, your presence. They won't say it outright, but you know the unspoken threat. If you don't give in, something will break in this relationship. That's how they trap you, not with power, but with the fear of being labeled the villain. The more time you spend around these people, the more you lose yourself. You start making decisions based on their feelings, not your values. You compromise, you walk on eggshells, you censor your words, not because you want peace, but because you're afraid of hurting them, while they have no problem bulldozing your boundaries and your freedom. Worse, you start doubting your own mind. Am I being too rigid? Maybe I really am selfish. But those thoughts aren't from your conscience. They're the psychological toxins planted in you, drop by drop, by a manipulator. Stoicism doesn't allow you to be someone else's emotional puppet. It teaches you to draw a hard line between what's yours and what isn't. If someone gets angry because you say no, that's their issue, not yours. If they feel hurt because you've drawn a line, it's only because they're used to crossing it. And if they leave once they can't manipulate you anymore, that's a blessing, not a loss. Epictetus once said, "No one can hurt you unless you allow it." Manipulators only work on people who give them the reins. They're not stronger than you. They're just exploiting your lack of clarity and your hunger for love to turn you into a tool for their agenda. They don't want connection. They want control. And the closer you let them in, the further you drift from steering your own life. The Stoic solution? First, recognize manipulation. Don't romanticize it as deep concern or emotional insight. Then, stand firm. Don't play the emotional bartering game. Don't let silence, sad eyes, or cryptic texts drag you back into submission. Respond with logic, not emotion. Respond with calm, not guilt. And if every attempt at honest dialogue just loops back into more manipulation, don't hesitate to walk away. Keeping your distance isn't hate, it's self-preservation. The Stoic doesn't play the victim. They don't play the savior either. They simply live with clarity and never let anyone else define their worth. If you're living around someone like this, ask yourself, am I serving love or serving control? If the answer leans toward control, then you know what to do. Life is already complicated enough. You don't need a part-time emotional director running the show in your own home. No one needs to betray you in spectacular fashion to hurt you. Sometimes, all it takes is not keeping their word, a forgotten promise, a late arrival, a task they agreed to and then quietly ignored, a commitment made in words but never honored in action. Every time that happens, you don't just lose trust in them, you lose a piece of trust in yourself. Because you believed them. The untrustworthy aren't always obvious villains. They smile, shake your hand, promise the world, and seem kind until something better comes up. Until someone more important needs them. Until they find a way to dodge responsibility. They leave you waiting. They leave you scrambling. They leave you to patch the hole they blew in your plans, your work, your life. And then they return with that familiar line, "Sorry, I've just been so busy." But the issue isn't that they're busy. The issue is, you're not a priority. In their world, promises are optional. Responsibility is negotiable. They forget or choose to ignore that words are invisible contracts. And the more someone casually breaks those contracts, the clearer their true character becomes. Unreliable. Every time you excuse it, they learn one thing. I can get away with this and still be accepted. And just like that, you become the one who's always understanding, flexible, patient, while they become the one who never faces consequences. Meanwhile, frustration builds, resentment festers, and all that bottled up anger, it slowly erodes the integrity of the relationship on both sides. This isn't just a broken promise. It's a chain of erosion eating away at your standards, your confidence, and your identity. Stoicism doesn't encourage you to harshly judge others, but it does demand that you pay attention to actions, not words. Someone can make 100 promises, but if they don't follow through, their silence speaks louder than anything. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Promises don't need to be shouted, they need to be kept. If you continue to allow unreliable people into your home, your work, your relationships, you're building your life on sand. You'll always wonder, will they follow through today? Will I have to pick up the slack again? Worse, you'll begin to lower your standards. You'll start expecting less to avoid disappointment. You'll stop asking for what's rightfully yours, just so you're not labeled difficult. That's quiet surrender, piece by piece, until you can't even tell what a healthy relationship is anymore. The Stoic solution. First, set clear expectations. Be upfront about boundaries and responsibilities. Not to control, but to eliminate confusion. Then, observe. Don't judge someone over one broken promise. But if it happens again and again, stop making excuses for them. Not everyone deserves a second chance, especially if they never valued the first. Next, reduce dependency. If someone consistently fails to follow through, they're not someone you should rely on. Whether it's a friend, a partner, or a colleague. You can still be kind, you can still stay in touch, but don't hand them responsibilities you already know they can't carry. Never build your life around someone who can't keep a simple appointment. And finally, stay calm. When someone breaks a promise, don't let it break your spirit. They may abandon their word, but don't let them disrupt your balance. A Stoic doesn't ignore reality. They don't live in delusion. They look directly at the truth and act accordingly. No anger, no blame, just a shift in behavior, and then move forward. If someone keeps breaking promises, stop asking, will they ever change? Start asking, why do I keep allowing this? Their behavior is a test of your self-respect. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for both of you is to shut the door they keep walking through, to leave disappointment behind. You can't control other people's actions, but you have full control over who you let into your world and who stays outside. Your home isn't just a place you live, it's a reflection of your soul. If you let the disrespectful, the negative, the manipulative, or the untrustworthy enter and take up space, don't be surprised when your peace disappears. Stoicism doesn't ask you to be cold, it asks you to be disciplined. Disciplined in emotions, disciplined in relationships, disciplined in how you protect yourself. Don't let anyone occupy your mental space just because you're afraid of being judged. Choose who enters your home, the way you choose who gets to enter your life. Because if you don't stand guard, sooner or later, you'll be exiled from the very place that's meant to be yours. Thank you for being here. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment so we can spread positivity together.